First off, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. I know it's hot. We also have medics and water over here, just in case if anybody needs. And feel free to sit down. Nobody needs to be standing, really. Okay. We are almost 2 years into this Holocaust, and we are all angry, frustrated, and brokenhearted for the people in Gaza, as they are being put through some of the most vile forms of torture, but also that our governments are not only complicit, but they are active participants in aiding this genocide. Shame. From Ireland to Palestine to Sudan, Congo, and right here in so-called Canada, the imperial powers have shown us that it's not never again, and that they will continue to aid and excuse these same horrors over and over again, and that these memorials and monuments and these condemnations really mean nothing when the abuses continue and the material accountability is constantly being deflected. We are here today not only to honor the martyred in Gaza, but to show these evils once again that we will not sit idly by. We all hold a moral responsibility, and now more than ever, it is imperative that we continue to mobilize. Just some housekeeping. If there are any agitators, please do not interact with them. They only want to get us riled up. We don't need them to get us, there's a poster over here. Right over here with a QR code. You can scan it at any time during the Vigil. It'll take you to a petition. Sign your name and fill that out. But make sure that you go into your email and verify your signature, because your signature won't count if you don't verify it through your email. And I'm going to pass it over to Alice, and she's going to continue on.
My name is Alice O'Carroll. I emigrated here from Ireland to Canada 13 years ago. We come here today, very windy. We come here today as Irish people in support of Palestinians, as Palestine faces the most horrendous chapter of its history to date. What we see on our screens happening in Gaza and also the West Bank is terrifying. It's evil, it's beyond words, and yet Israel is able to act with impunity. Many people ask, why are the Irish so pro-Palestinian? I'm not a history buff, I'm going to be honest with you, but it was important to our community for us to share today some of the reasons why Irish people support Palestine. I have a special message for Irish people and people of Irish descent who have not yet spoken up about Palestine. We see many people come out of work on St. Patrick's Day to drink the green beer and have the green hair. This is not what it is to be Irish. What it is to be Irish is leaning into your Irish roots, standing with the oppressed, standing with those who have not yet gotten their freedom, respecting our own history and legacy, and supporting justice for others. Those of us gathered here today are doing just that, and we have been doing that for a long time. For others who are proud to be Irish but have not yet taken action to end the genocide and the occupation, this message is for you. You should raise your voice to end the genocide, end the occupation, and demand justice for Palestinians. This is not a comprehensive list, this is really a highlight of some of the elements of our history that means we are here to support Palestinians. Our history is one of struggle against colonization. From the Norman invasion of 1169, Ireland struggled for independence for 753 years until 1921, when the Irish Free State was formed. And then the Republic was established in 1949. This small island of ours is still divided today. We have an international border going across our island. This continues to be incredibly painful for many people. And thanks to the peace process, the bombs have stopped. People have stopped being killed. And there is a tenuous peace now. This was hard won. We know in our DNA what occupation is. Our ancestors and our people, and people alive today, fought for our freedom. Our history is entirely about the struggle for independence and self-rule. When we gather at the end of our parties, at the end of our weddings, at the end of our funerals, our songs are about the struggle. Our music and our literature are about this struggle. This is who we are after all these years. Number two, our rights were taken, our culture was suppressed. The Irish language was banned under penal laws in 1691. And this was not a once-off. As was Irish music, as was Irish dancing. The laws also prohibited Catholics from voting or serving in Parliament. The 1922 census found between 6% and 14% of Irish people said they could speak Irish very well. This cultural erasure is the legacy of our history, and this is such a shame. But this is what has happened to us, and this is the result of it. We are native English speakers today. Number three, we lost 2 to 3 million of our population due to famine. An Uchras War, or the Great Hunger, is regarded as the single most devastating part of Irish history. Interestingly, when we learned about this at school, we were told that it was because the Irish ate potatoes for some bizarre reason, and the potato crop failed, and then as a result we all went into famine. This, of course, is really a sanitized version of the whole thing, and there's many controversies still about the Irish famine, but there are some things we do know, and I've tried to pare it down to some backstories here today. The population of Ireland was 8 million prior to 1845, and it has never reached this level since. 1 million people starved to death during this time. 1 million people. Accounts vary, but between 1 to 2 million people emigrated, mostly to the US, some to Canada, Britain, Australia, but by the end of the 19th century, 2 million people had left our shores. The ships that carried them away were called coffin ships, because 20 to 30% of the people on the ships died because of hunger, because of disease, overcrowding, lack of sanitization, and on and on. So many of the people getting on the ships did not reach the other shores. 500,000 people became homeless. 500,000. About 100,000 people offered their lands up to landlords so they could enter a workhouse. The conditions in the workhouses were horrendous. You got food and you worked hard for it, and these were just horrendous. It's a whole other history. Food prices soared. Desperate people resorted to eating rodents. Some limited help did come. Interesting. Sultan Abul Mazid from the Ottoman Empire offered £10,000, which of course was an enormous sum of money, but he was asked to reduce this to 2,000 so as not to embarrass Queen Victoria, who was only coming up with 2,000 herself. And I love this piece. The Choctaw people donated $170. Isn't that amazing? And despite that, or probably because of that, they reached out and they helped us in our field. In 1847, which was the worst year of the Great Hunger, the public works programs were suspended, leaving the population to perish. This was at the worst of it. Later, soup kitchens were put in place, but they were also suspended. Irish people had to pay rent for their own lands to British landlords, and they grew corn, they had some livestock, very little, and it was because of this they had to sell all of this to generate the money for the rent, and which believe that all of this food was going out of the country at the time of our starvation. Things like livestock, butter, fish, peas, beans, honey, being exported at the time when our people were starving, when 1 million people perished. Indeed, shockingly, the food exports actually increased during this time. In 1 year alone, again in 1847, it is estimated that 4,000 vessels carrying food were exported from Ireland by England during the worst year of the Great Hunger. So as people starved, ships laden with food left our shores bound for England. Our people have been victimized and oppressed. Our people have been called terrorists. Our people have been blamed for standing against their suppression. Our island is divided by an international border. Our land was taken. Our people have been starved. What was done to us is being done to them now, but on an industrial scale and with the full support of the most powerful nations in the world. It is an absolute travesty. Not to speak up for justice for Palestine is to betray our own people who fought for our freedom, and I'd like to remind us that this is not about us today. This is about Palestine. Saoirse and Palestine.
I'd like to thank Sean Walmore for giving us his full support and speaking his words today. This is his home. They called it a famine in Ireland too, back when about 1 million Irish people died of starvation and another couple million were displaced from this nation, but it wasn't a famine. Not just a failure of crops, it was our food being shipped out and into the colonizers' shops. So you see, we know this game. We've seen it before, and you don't need to have been there to feel the collective consciousness of those who now demand more. When they see others starved to fucking death. Because while our food was being shipped out, they can't get food shipped in. Because the colonizers know through starvation you'll win. And while we were stealing Trevelyan's corn so our children could make it to see another morn, there are Palestinian parents who have to watch in despair as their children try to exist on just fucking hope and air. But they won't. They will die, like 1 million Irish did before. They called it a famine in Ireland too, and that's why we must demand so much more.
We have Maria next. She's just going to say a few things.
Just a reminder, we do have some water and granola bars, and some food if anyone wants any refreshments. Thank you for being here. My name is Maria. I'm a second-generation displaced Palestinian, born and raised here on Turtle Island. My family comes from the occupied cities of Jaffa and Haifa in Palestine. As you've heard so far, there's a long and deep connection between Irish people and Palestinians. Before I even knew the significance of my Palestinian heritage, I felt a strong affinity to Irish people I would meet and also to the indigenous people here on Turtle Island. And I felt it was like subliminal. I think the spirit of resistance, tenacity, and the will to live full lives is common amongst our people, and we can recognize one another. Thank you to Irish for Palestine for organizing this vigil and to everyone here. Your presence is a powerful act in the name of continuing to bear witness to the irreparable harm being inflicted on Palestinians in Gaza and the rest of occupied Palestine and around the world. Spaces and gatherings like this allow us to share some of the weight of each other's grief that we often feel that we're carrying alone. Here in Ireland Park, we're reminded of the Great Famine, or the Great Hunger, which began in Ireland in 1845. In the case of the Great Famine, and as well in the ongoing situation in Gaza, many consider the word famine to be too passive and reminiscent of a natural disaster. The British occupiers certainly facilitated the starvation of the local Irish population, even though there was enough food being grown to feed everyone, as Alice shared with us earlier. Today's famine in Gaza is 100% human-made, inflicted intentionally upon the indigenous population by the Israeli occupying forces, and has always been 100% preventable. The haunting and beautiful sculptures around us today remind us of those who perished while trying to flee starvation in Ireland. Unlike the Irish of the 1840s and 50s, Gazans have nowhere to go and are being subject to constant bombing, targeting, and displacement. Whether by hunger, bullet, bomb, or disease, all deaths caused by Israel are gruesome beyond belief, and with the absolute genocidal intent that they're not even trying to hide or mask. Our governments and our tax dollars support these crimes. Shame. Shame. Since October 2023, an estimated 300,000 to 500,000 Gazans have been killed by Israel, Some estimates are as high as 1.2 million deaths, or 1.2 million murders more accurately. Allah yarhaman, as we say in Arabic. There is a lot of attention in the media and online put on the number of women and children killed, which is over half, in an attempt to humanize the Palestinians that are, again, routinely being hunted by Israel. I want to be clear though, every Gazan, every Palestinian, including our boys and men, deserve to grow old, live long, healthy lives, tend to their gardens, study, travel, build their families, and live their lives on their own terms. Each life taken from us is a universe lost, and every single Palestinian on earth today is a miracle when you consider how much money and effort is being used in an attempt to erase us altogether. Additionally, it is shocking to me as a Palestinian to see our very culture of warmth, family, generosity, education, and land stewardship be reduced to some kind of caricature of angry militants. Palestinians do not fight back and resist because we are inherently violent. That is what the occupier wants you to believe. We resist and fight for our right to live because we have no other option. In times like these, hope is sometimes... In times like these, hope is sometimes hard to hold on to. I urge all of us to come together and use whatever privileges we have to continue to affect change through political and/or grassroots means. Liberation is not a fantasy. We must not let decades of occupation and up to millions of deaths be in vain. Free, free, my Palestine, our Palestine, from the river to the sea.
Eliza with a poem.
I will be reading Quarantine by the Irish poet Eireann Quay. In the worst hour of the worst season, the worst year, a man set out from the workhouse. He was walking. They were both walking. She was sick with famine fever and could not keep up. He lifted her and put her on his back. Walked like that, west and west and north. Until at nightfall, under freezing stars, they arrived. In the morning, they were both found dead. Of cold, of hunger, of the toxins of a whole Easter. But her feet were held against his breastbone. The last heat of his flesh was his last gift to her. Let no love poem ever come to this threshold. There is no place here for the inexact praise, the easy graces, and sensuality of the body. There is only time for this merciless infant toil. Their death together in the winter of 1847. Also what they suffered, how they lived, and what there is between a man and woman, and in which darkness it can best be proved.
Next we have Elaine with some music.
But I have a lot of friends in the traditional music world that have gone to refugee camps in occupied West Bank to learn tunes and exchange tunes. There's an exchange program with University College Cork and Palestine. It's one of the few in the world that like it. And myself just starting to get started learning about Palestinian music and its folk music and seeing the feeling the similarities, hearing the similarities as I learn them. It's beautiful, and there's a lot of grief there too, obviously. And it's a huge privilege for me to be here. My ancestors arrived here on Turtle Island in the 1850s. My mom is here with me. We've been here 170 years, and
she always ensured that I stayed connected to my culture, I stayed connected to a sense of justice, and yeah, anyways, the first piece I want to play for you is quite an old tune. It's kind of transmutated over hundreds of years. It's called, sorry for my Irish, which translates into roughly as that's how it's been translated. And the second piece I'm going to play, I apologize, I learned it this morning.
It's from, thank you, one of those music exchanges in, I can't remember the name of the refugee camp in the occupied West Bank, but it's called, and I'm so sorry, Yama Wel El Hawa. And it's been Irishified a little bit, so bear with me. And like I said, I'm just getting started learning Palestinian music, so yeah, thank you.
Another poem, Alice is going to perform it right now.
Thanks very much. I'm doing this on behalf of a comrade and friend of ours, Dalia El Farah. Dalia is from Han Yunis, and 300 members of her family have been murdered. So Dalia can't be here with us today, but this, I think, will touch all of us. So this is Dalia's message. My friends and family and comrades, there are days when the weight feels unbearable, when despair presses in and the road ahead seems swallowed by darkness, when our voices feel too hoarse to rise and the world feels too loud to listen, when we wonder if anything we do matters, if the cracks we make will ever reach the surface. But still we move, we speak, we gather the pieces of ourselves and we place them at the feet of something larger, because giving up is not an option. And silence is a wound we refuse to carry. Hold this close. Every act, even the smallest, is a cut, a slice in the fabric of the machine, a quiet rupture in a system built on our silence, a sticker on a lamppost, a chant in the cold, an email sent, a poster taped, a truth spoken when it would have been easier to stay silent. Each one is a whisper that grows into a tremor, a reminder that we are not powerless. That resistance doesn't need to roar to be real. The machine counts on our exhaustion. It feeds on our despair, but every refusal, every act of care, every time we say Free Palestine is a stone thrown into the gears. This is how the cracks spread. This is how empires fall. This is, and it's working. Slowly, quietly, stubbornly, it's working. We may not see the shift with our eyes, but something stirs beneath the surface and we must keep pressing. Even if we try the same thing over and over, even if it breaks and fails 1,000 times, one day something will give. Because the opposite of despair is not hope, it is action. And action, even when it feels futile, is a form of faith. What we're doing may not always reach them, but it keeps us from sinking. It keeps our hearts from hardening. It keeps us alive in a world that wants us numb. We are not lost. We are fighting to be found. We are not voiceless. We are the echo that won't die. We are not still. We are shaking the ground of empire. We are not silent. We are a storm gathering breath. We are not scattered. We are a constellation in formation. So keep cutting, keep moving, keep trying, in love, in rage, in steadfastness, in solidarity. From Dalia. Free Palestine.
We're going to be closing up soon, but I think we have not a poem, a prayer of peace. If whoever was performing that, I think it was like a last minute thing.
Damn it. I do it. Damn it.
You find him.
That's the reason we're here today in solidarity, every one of us together as the wee creatures, truly solidarity. Anyone else that wants to say a wee prayer, right? I'm here to say a wee prayer, right? Anyone else, nothing religion, right? We're all just here together now, right? For the likes of these wee people, right? To pray for them. It's not what they're doing, all these different religions, it's all come together. Please, God bless. So what I'm going to say is, all I know is our Father, where you're at down, right? And look at them wee creatures, right? Ask God, please stop that stuff. Stop that stuff. That's all we do. Stay there. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thank you. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Trespasses as we forgive trespass against us. Give us this day our daily bread, and give us our trespasses, we forgive trespass against us.
Yeah, if anybody has anything that they would like to share or say, the mic is open. But if not, I would like to talk a little bit about our calls to action. So we need a material arms embargo. We need accountability from our governments. We've been hearing a lot of talk and a lot of posturing, obviously, but none of it is actually implementing any change. We've been lied to by our governments, and PYM just came out with a report. I'm sure most of you have read it, and it pretty much detailed in depth about all the all the weapons that Canada has been sending over to Israel to aid this genocide. So we have a phone number here and over here. I call the Foreign Affairs Minister to demand implementation of a full arms embargo. And again, we have the QR code over here, so if you haven't signed it, please do. And yeah, we're going to be closing out, but we also have pins here. And yeah, thank you again to everybody for showing up and sticking with us today. It was wonderful to have you all, and yeah, free Palestine.